Hello and welcome to another FineScale Modeler Weekly.
We have a great show lined up for you, starting with the very orange 1/24th scale Porsche 962C Jägermeister race car from Tamiya.
This model can be traced back to its original 1986 release. New parts were added in 1989 and new decal designs from 1990 up through today.
There's one black sprue that contains all underbody and interior parts and a single molded piece for the underbody, to which is added the rear arms, transmission case, coilover shock absorbers, and the rear uprights.
We go inside to work on the cockpit tub, seat brace, and manual shifter. Then onto the monocoque, where the instrumentation panel, steering wheel, front uprights, and coilover shock absorbers are attached.
Front and rear rims are inserted into the supplied rubber tires and attached to the brake system. Please be aware there's two small metal rivets to hold the rear wheels in place. The front wheels are held by molded-in rods on the backside of the rims.
Turning our attention to the vibrant orange body, the windshield, both door windows, and headlight covers are molded into the plastic. Headlights, windshield wiper, and side view mirrors complete the body. Attaching the body to the frame is quite easy with 4 supplied pins.
The kit includes pre-cut masks, and cartograph decals are supplied for markings, tire brand, instrumentation, and seat belts.
Tamiya finishes in first place with this well-engineered and vibrant Porsche 962C.
Heading off into space, we have the Polar Lights 1/1000th scale Star Trek Strange New Worlds USS Enterprise NCC 1701. The core of this kit is the same as the 2020 release, but one noticeable difference is the box art, which has been changed from Star Trek Discovery to Star Trek Strange New Worlds. The Bussard collectors consist of 4 parts, with the end cap being clear plastic for lighting.
The nacelles come in halves, with 5 clear parts for lighting effects.
The nacelle support pylons are in 2 parts, with the main stage flux tuner and post-stage flux intercoolers rounding out the details.
The primary hull starts off with the underside of the top saucer section with the impulse engines, then going to the clear parts for the bridge, registration light strip, and window sections.
The underside of the bottom half of the primary hull consists of all clear parts for lighting, which include windows, phaser beam array, and registration lights.
2 parts make up the secondary hull, with the navigational deflector dish and deflector shield generator in the bow, with clear parts for secondary hull windows and shuttle bay section.
With the primary and secondary hulls and both nacelles put together to form the Enterprise, you can put it on top of the 2-part base and use the supplied decals for the markings.
But if you want to go one step further with detailing your new Enterprise, as with the lower decks USS Cerritos, Polar Lights supplies an Aztec decal set for their Strange New Worlds Enterprise kit.
There are 3 sheets of water slide decals that cover most of the model surface that can be hard to achieve by painting.
Polar Lights did a great job with both the Strange New Worlds Enterprise and Aztec decal set. Builders who are into the show should be happy with these 2 offerings. ICM offers a 1/48th scale B-26G Marauder World War II American-French medium bomber. The B-26G was produced by the Glenn L. Martin Company in Middle River, Maryland, and became the final variant in the Marauder line. Additionally, some internal equipment was standardized in the B-26G to meet the common requirements of both the Army and Navy. Jumping to the first sprue, we have the fuselage, which shows the modified 3.5-degree wing angle.
The next sprue has the wing halves, engine nacelles, and their parts, elevators, and interior part for the fuselage.
We have a second wing, rudder, tail section, 4 cockpit parts, and gun support for the mid-upper turret.
There are 2 sprues that have identical engine parts, beginning with the covers, banks of cylinders, exhaust and fuel pipes, wheel halves, landing gear doors, bomb halves, and a propeller.
The tail section has 3 parts, with additional parts including flaps, bomb bay roof, and bomb bay doors.
More parts include the mid-upper turret, bomb racks, undercarriage parts, flaps, and lower waist gunner windows.
Additional parts include defensive guns, various details if you plan on having the bomb bay doors open, including bow and stern bulkheads, bag cover for the rear guns, and nose wheel details.
Getting into the clear parts, there's the front windshield, nose, turret, various windows, and navigational lights.
The decal sheet is impressive with colorful markings for 2 American and 1 French bomber. Markings are for B-26G 'Willie the Wolf, 494th Bombardment Squadron, and 344th Bombardment Group, 1944.
B-26G 5MA, Margie and Donna Dolores, 444th Bombardment Squadron, Sardinia, Autumn 1944.
And B-26G 10MA, Bombing Group 132, Burgundy, France, 1945.
This kit has the sort of details you've come to expect from ICM.
I agree, and at 1/48th scale, all the details they packed in really stand out. Give this one a try, you won't be disappointed.
Lastly, we have the 1/35th scale M915 Gun Truck by Trumpeter. The M915 is a baseline model of a series of heavy trucks which were delivered to the U.S. Army in 1978.
It's a line haul tractor, or LHT, that's primarily used for long distance movement of containers.
It's used to move cargo from port to division operation areas. Normally, this truck tows M872 semi-trailers with a payload capacity of 30 tons.
Trumpeter originally released this as a new tool back in 2017 with a M872 trailer included. This version doesn't have a trailer, but the cab has been beefed up with a pillbox and a couple machine guns.
Let's start with the bottom of the engine block with the oil pan and part of the transmission assembly. Side rails, connecting supports, and leaf springs start to form the chassis and underbody.
Going to the back end, we have dual axles and differentials, along with the interaxle propeller shaft. The drive shaft is added to the middle and axles to the front.
Brake discs, 2-part hubcaps, and rubber tires are added to the rear inner wheel assembly.
3-part hubcaps and rubber tires run out the rear outer duals and the front wheel assembly. The chassis assembly is topped off with the fuel tank.
Going inside the cab, there's the floor, seats, inner back wall, dashboard, and steering wheel.
The main part of the cab is all one piece. The front windshield, doors with windows, and exhaust pipe run out the main parts of the cab.
4 parts make up the 2 front fenders, 5 parts make up the radiator, and when assembled, slides inside the front of the one-piece hood. The front end guard, headlights, side view mirrors, horn, and mud flaps are some of the many details available.
Going to the rear of the cab, we start off with the 50 cal machine gun and ammo box, one-piece truck bed, and reinforcement that sits atop the cab's roof. Just like the cab, hood, and truck bed, the pillbox is molded in one piece and will sit inside the truck bed.
A hatch, mounts for the machine guns, and rear door completes the pillbox. Reinforcement plates for both sides of the truck bed, behind the truck bed, and over the duals completes the build.
2 photo etch sheets are included that help add more detail to the kit, such as radiator grille, exhaust pipe heat shield, machine gun shield, and a lot more.
A decal sheet is included for the dashboard, painting masks for the windows, and a full-color painting and marking guide.
Even though this kit is targeted towards armor and truck enthusiasts, those wanting to construct something outside the norm, like a zombie apocalypse diorama or a vehicle from the Mad Max series of films, can get you into the fun as well.
Look for reviews of the Porsche 962C, B-26G Marauder, and M915 Gun Truck at FineScale.com.
Where you'll also find great how-to stuff like this downloadable snapshot PDF on how to paint urban camouflage.
And head over to the shoptrains.com store for a great selection of tools, gifts, and books.
FineScale Modeler Weekly brought to you by Hobby Zone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find hobby tools, and aftermarket modeling needs.
So we're all familiar with files and sanding sticks. I mean, all of us have to have these things at our workbench, right? You've got your metal files of various shapes and sizes. Sanding sticks, again, various grits from very coarse to super fine and polished. But there's another sort of file that I have come to really, really like, and that is the glass file. Surprise, glass files really got their start in the cosmetics industry around 2000 or so. And then, like we do so often, modelers saw them and were like, hey, these are really cool. And really, it was the Gundam guys and gals who picked up on them at the beginning. Now, just like with normal files or sanding sticks, you can get glass files in a range of grits from 400 all the way up to 10,000 or 12,000. These are all 10,000 grit, useful for ultra polishing, as it says right on the box. Glass files are useful with plastic and wood. You do not want to use them on metal. And that's part of the reason why they won't replace your metal files or your sanding sticks, because you're not going to want to use them on, say, photo etched metal or other, brass or steel items that you might be using for making your models. As you can see, you can get a variety of different shapes for your glass files. And like I said, this is a polishing file, so just coming right on in and I can just start doing the work. You can see really quickly how nicely that starts to polish up what was a very nice satiny finish, but this just takes it to a whole new level. You can see where there's this seam here. That seam has all but disappeared now. And under paint, it's going to be absolutely, you're not going to see it at all. The advantages that glass files have over, say, your normal sanding sticks or your metal files is that they are super easy to clean. All you're going to need is basically some water and a toothbrush, and you're just going to be able to scrub anything that gets inside the grit. You're going to be able to get that right on out. Now, here's the thing that you're going to want to remember. These are glass. So while you can accidentally drop your sanding stick or your metal file on your floor, if it's a hard floor, like concrete, don't have any carpeting, you want to be careful. You don't want to drop these guys, because even though they are tempered glass, you can shatter them, you can crack them. If they're cracked, they're done. Obviously, if they're shattered, they're done. So you're going to want to always put them back in their protective case, and that's how you want to store them. Now, I don't have a problem with that because I'm a protective case nerd. I like to put my stuff away when I'm done with it. You're gonna say to me, Tim, I go ahead and I clean out my metal files. I clean out my sanding sticks. Yeah, if you find that you're one of these guys who's at the workbench and slapping their sanding stick on the workbench to clean it out, or doing the same thing with your metal file, or you've gone down and you're getting the brass brush out to clean off that metal file, you know what? Just stop, slow down. Go down to the hardware store and invest in an abrasive rubber sanding cleaner, okay? You can clean out your files, you can clean out your sanding sticks with it, you can clean sandpaper with it. This is a must-have at your workbench. You should really have one of these. However, the glass files, do you need them? No, they're not going to replace your sanding sticks or your metal files for all of your filing or sanding needs, but they definitely are really cool to have at your workbench. Back in March, I was in Mount Hope, Ontario, Canada for HeritageCon. It was a great show. There were 3,000 people through the doors, almost 1,000 models on the tables. It was fantastic. It was also a challenge to fight up to the tables to get any video, but I did it for you guys. So here's the video, and make sure to stop by at the link in the description and check out some of the photos of models that I took while at the show.
There's one black sprue that contains all underbody and interior. Interior. I don't know what that means. I think I just made it up. Heading off into space, we have the Polar Lights 1000. With a main stage flux tuner and post stage flux I get all the science words.
Here's your scientific gobbler.